It's a Tuesday. Welcome in. We're at Social Taco here in Homewood. Larry and Don, they've already arrived. You can arrive as well. Landry Roberts, Pat Smith, Molly, anchoring things there from the studio of Jocks. We got transfer portal news to get to, both on the Alabama side, also the Auburn side, the much anticipated news for Alex.
Just a little technical difficulties here on a Tuesday. They're live at Social Taco, three-man front. Damian Mitchell, John Sabear holding things down till we get those guys back.
I'm assuming that Don just went too exuberant because Brian, committed, and so we probably unplugged our equipment.
Yeah, there's no telling. You know, he's jumping for joy as the big news coming from Jordan Hare there in Auburn, Alabama, that the former USF quarterback Byron Brown has officially announced that he will be committing to the Auburn Tigers following Alex Golesh. I think a lot of people pretty much knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. And I think when you look at that entire quarterback room, somebody that Alex Golesh is definitely comfortable with, you look at the receiving core that he's bringing in through the transfer portal as well, it seems like a perfect fit.
And what's surprising to me is how we had this discussion earlier on Mac and Cube. We had it last week. I'm sure everyone's got Auburn friends out there. A lot of them were nervous, worried that a good number of players were exiting the portal and a good number of South Florida people were coming into Auburn. They're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Like these guys, they can't hack it at South Florida. What are they going to do here? Now that Brown's here, all of a sudden, oh, hey, you know what? This is what we wanted. This is absolutely what we wanted. And speaking of what everyone else wanted, let's take it back out to Social Taco and hear from the guys. Are we here?
Yeah, thanks,
There
John.
we go, yeah.
Thanks,
Okay,
John.
what was it Don? Did he unplug everything because he was excited about the recent commitment?
He's very excited. He's telling everyone here at Social Taco about the announcement of Byron Brown. So
That's
I think
what it was.
Don,
Okay,
actually.
all right.
Yeah, I think he
We are
absolutely,
confirmed, okay.
did that. But the point of the conversation was the fact that, Landry, we talked about it yesterday, we anticipated a great deal and probably more to come. Guys that were on the South Florida roster last year will make their way to Lee County.
Yeah, and a lot of wide receivers because it's estimated that Auburn, because of the departures out of that room with, of course, Cam Coleman and those guys, you had to replenish with 5 or 6 transfer portal guys. It appears right now, if the running total is there, they've got at least 3, maybe 4, so you would expect maybe some more additions. I think Singleton would be the one, Keyshawn Singleton, one of the talented guys from USF. I don't know if he has made his commitment or his verbal pledge, but those are one of those guys they're expecting to come along as well.
So a little bit of news from the Alabama front. Still nothing new on Ty Simpson and his future, but they get a big running back committed last night. Hollywood Smothers, the former North Carolina State running back, he led the ACC in rushing yards last year. It's really funny. I was watching a video from a couple of years ago. So right out of high school, Alabama was one of the teams that he was considering on signing day. And it was Alabama, NC State, Oklahoma, and a couple other schools. And the first hat he picked up was Alabama. Then he threw it on the ground. And then he picked up an NC State hat, put it back on the table, and then he took Oklahoma. You know, he played his first year at Oklahoma. So it's interesting. He went to Oklahoma. Then he transferred to NC State, and the hat that he threw on the ground, he is now going to be a running back for the Alabama Crimson Tide as he has committed. He averaged 85 yards a game rushing. That was best in the ACC. He has 3 seasons of college football experience, 2 in NC State and 1 at Oklahoma.
Well, and I guess it doesn't matter, but if I'm Hollywood Smothers, I'm asking who are the guys I'm going to be running behind, because offensive line for next year, that's still a question, and who's going to be my quarterback, because that could certainly change things up with the run game. Is it going to be more of a dual threat type of guy? Is that going to take away carries? Apparently, whatever conversations he had with Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, he liked what he heard.
Yeah, and Alabama defensive lineman this morning, James Smith, he has entered the NCAA transfer portal. Talked to a couple of people down in Tuscaloosa, and they were surprised that James Smith had made his way into the portal. He's a junior. He's played in 37 games over 3 seasons for the Tide. He made 12 starts. all of his starts came this season. So James Smith is in the portal. And then last night, Wolf linebacker Qua Russaw, he entered the portal. Remember, he was banged up a little bit early part of the season. But when that happened, Yanze Pierre, he got a lot more playing time. And so Pierre, obviously, they need to make sure that he's coming back. But Qua Russaw is now in the portal. So.
Well, and look, and we know if you finish 5-7, you finish your season 11-4. Everybody is affected. Everybody is affected by the transfer portal, whether it's incoming, whether it's outgoing, but everybody is affected in some shape, way, or fashion.
Well, and one thing is for sure, we saw how bad that Alabama got smacked around in the trenches defensively, what Indiana did. If this holds true and these guys are gone off the roster, Alabama will have a completely brand-new defensive line for 2026. And I think a lot of Alabama fans, based on what they saw in Pasadena,
say thumbs up.
Yep, they say, hey, we're all good. Let's go now to the Higginbotham Hotline. Joining us, as he does each and every Tuesday, from the AJC, from DogNation.com, joining us, Mike Griffith. Mike, Happy New Year. Hope you're well.
I think I was infected by the transfer portal.
Oh, are you sick,
I had
Mike?
a cough, so.
Are you sick?
Yeah, I've had a
you
little
got
cough.
it.
I think all those Ole Miss transfers. But you know what? You guys were just saying that Alabama's going to have a new offense. That worked out pretty good for Ole Miss. That transfer team that only had 33% of their starters signed beat a Georgia team that, did it the old-fashioned way, was 90% of their student athletes signed and brought in the program. So welcome to professional football at the collegiate level. It seems to work.
No, it sure is. I'm going to go back before we get your thoughts on the Alabama debacle at the Rose Bowl. Just your thoughts on the Sugar Bowl and what you saw from this Ole Miss team. Can this Ole Miss team win the national championship?
I don't think so. I think Trinidad Chambers was amazing, though. I mean, I just tip my cap to him. And I thought Ole Miss was a better football team. They were a better team in Athens for 3 quarters. They were up by 2 scores, and Georgia had to convert a 4th down, and, Chambliss had a really bad 4th quarter, but they were better in Athens. They were better at the Sugar. They outgained Georgia every quarter in the Sugar Bowl. I didn't really realize that until I went back to over the numbers. And Pete Golding was right. He told his team at halftime, hey, guys, we don't need to adjust anything. We're good enough to win. Just execute. And they were. They were better. And, Georgia kind of feel like they peaked. They kind of had their emotional high beating Alabama in the SEC championship game. That was probably one of their better games of the year. They beat Texas, playing really well in November. And they had a couple key guys out. You're missing your best offensive lineman, the center. You're missing your best edge rusher. You lose one of your linebackers, Raylan Wilson. You lose your safety to an ejection that, I don't know. A guy throws a shoulder pad into somebody and gets ejected. I mean, I guess that's where we're at. But you're missing 4 key guys against an Ole Miss team that played really well. Quarterback was in his zone, had a better running back, had better wide receivers, had a better kicker. So you credit Ole Miss. Now, the only reason I say I don't think they'll win the national title, and I don't think Georgia would have either, is because I think Miami's really good, and I think Miami's got probably the only line of scrimmage in college football left that I think can measure up to Indiana's.
Mike Griffith joining us from DogNation.com and the AJC. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Before we move on to Alabama, for Georgia and looking ahead and Kirby Smart and what they need to reload, they've got pieces they've got to fill just like everybody else, Mike. First and foremost, what are some of the main parts that you see being vital for Kirby Smart in this offseason?
Well, I mean, I think they need to, get some running backs. I mean, I think Frazier will be back, but they signed a guy at Illinois, Josh McCray, and, he was good in short yardage, but really not much of a feature back. Rod Robinson's a guy that's hung around a few years. He's in the portal. He's not coming back. Well, you saw what happened to Alabama. I mean, you need to get back to having 3 or 4 guys deep in the backfield. And Georgia used to be RBU. Now it's kind of a joke. Like I said, Ole Miss had a better running back than they did. So did Florida. Gosh, you could go down the list, but they need to get a marquee running back. I think they really need some receivers. Zachariah Branch was fantastic, but, Colby Young, the guy from Miami, had a couple of good games, but other than that, he was suspended half a year and didn't make the catch over the 5'9" Alabama freshman DB when they really needed him to. So I don't know if I really think that worked out. Noah Thomas was a guy that flashed a little bit from A&M this year, had a few good games, but did they really get their bang for the buck from him? No. So and I hate to talk like this about college kids, but this is how you have to evaluate when you spend money on a player. Did they earn their check? Was it a good gamble or not? Right? I mean, this is how we got to evaluate these guys now. So, I think Georgia's got to do a better job getting receivers in the portal. Pretty good at the line of scrimmage, though, and at linebacker and in the secondary. I think Georgia probably goes into next year as the SEC favorite, provided, Gunnar Stockton comes back and they sign a couple of receivers.
Mike Griffith joining us for a couple more minutes from the AJC, covers the Georgia Bulldogs at DogNation.com. So if your prediction turns out to be correct and Ole Miss does not win the national championship, the SEC is going to be shut out again. If you were put your finger on the one particular thing why the SEC has not won a national championship over the last 3 years, what would it be?
Parity. Too much depth. Everybody's good. You're slugging it out every week. It's like Kirby said. They play this last-minute game against Ole Miss, and you're like, well, they had a last-minute game against Alabama. They had a last-minute game against Tennessee. They had a last-minute game against Florida. Right, that last minute game, Ole Miss last time, they were about to go 17-0 down to Auburn. I mean, there's just so much balance in the league, and now you're going to another conference game. You guys, beat the hell out of each other. You're losing 4 or 5 guys to injury every year. You're playing these Big Ten teams that 2 or 3 legit games on their schedule, and then they coast. And I'll tell you what, look at the NFL draft right now, guys. Look at the first-round projections. It's Big Ten guys. Yeah. You're not seeing a lot of SEC talent there. So I don't know how you get it back. There's a lot of parity. A lot of coaches making a lot of money. I kind of wonder about that. These coaches are going to keep making all this money if they're not winning national championships. And, is the SEC on the way down? I mean, I don't want to say the sky's falling, but, the way things have worked out lately, it kind of looks like the Big Ten's kind of gotten their way with Commissioner Sankey a little bit. They forced him into a 9-game schedule against his coach's wishes, and now we're seeing the results in the playoffs. It's not working out. What the SEC's doing, it's not working out for championships. But they did get some teams in the playoffs that are going to, get some revenue out of that, right? What they get? Yep. Three. How many teams are going to play? 3 teams in the playoff, right?
More than that.
5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you still got 5 teams in the playoffs. So you get some revenue out of that, but I don't know. I'm with you. It looks to me like we're going to go another year without an SEC team winning the national title.
And it kind of parlays into this next question that I had for you in regards to that, because you potentially could have an Ole Miss Rebel football team play for a national championship without going to Atlanta and playing that additional game for the SEC championship game. Meanwhile, Alabama and Georgia both did. So you play that tough gamut of a schedule throughout the season, and then you got to play that extra hard game in Atlanta. Meanwhile, Ole Miss didn't have to do that.
I kind of equate it to I'm going to make an analogy here. I don't know if we can make this jump, but I'm going to try. So who's the last Big Ten team to win the national championship in basketball?
In basketball, was it Michigan?
State? Was it Michigan State?
What year was that?
Michigan.
Early 2000s, right? Like 2002, something like that? It's your alma mater.
I would tell you.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, I do. But that's my point. I would tell you that Big Ten basketball has been better than SEC basketball 22 out of those 25 years. I think it has. I think it's better. I think it's been deeper, right? But look at how many SEC teams have won the national title since then.
It was 2000.
We've made this.
It was 2000 when Michigan State won the national championship.
Yeah. Yeah, and think about how good the Big Ten is in basketball. It's a really good basketball league.
Yeah.
But we turn this into a tournament sport, right? And I don't know. I think the Spartans might have won the Big Ten. But my point is, you don't have to win your league tournament in basketball to win the NCAA tournament. We've changed college football, guys. We've taken away the importance of the regular season. This was a byproduct of adding a tournament, and this is a tournament sport. And it's now about who's best at the end and where they're seated. And I think the books have been cooked with these seedings. I think it makes a difference if you're seated number 1 and number 2 versus number 5 or number 6. I mean, look at Ole Miss. They're seeded number 6. Do they look like a number 6 seed to you? So Ohio State got a 2 seed even though they lost in the Big Ten title game. I'm still trying to figure that out. Miami beat them more convincingly than Indiana did, I thought. So, it's not a perfect science. I think the more teams we have, I mean, look, the toothpaste is out of the tube. College football's changed. There are a bunch of free agent signees, NIL kids. Coaches are after the money grabs. Lane Kiffin's an embarrassment to any kind of integrity coaches once held. It is what it is. It's a circus. So we can all stop pretending now. What we have is what we have. And so it'll be interesting to see how the SEC moves forward. It's a lot of competitive programs, a lot of money in the South, but there's a lot of money in the Midwest, and they've got the largest media markets and some built-in advantages.
That is Mike Griffith. You can hear him each Tuesday right here. You can read his stuff at ajc.com and also at dognation.com. Well, Mike, Happy New Year. Hope you get to feeling better,
Thanks,
and we will catch up with you next week as we will have the participant set for the College Football National Championship game.
I might have had too much cough and flu medicine today, so if I went overboard, you know me, I don't like to go overboard usually, but I think I might have had too much
not
cough
you.
Was it the purple? Was it the purple
Don't
stuff?
hold that against me.
What did you drink?
No, you're thinking of the purple drink in New Orleans. No, I didn't have that either. No,
Okay.
I don't want to name any brands. I don't want anybody suing me telling me that it's their fault that I was too hard on Lane Kiffin or something. I don't want to hurt him.
Oh, no, not at all. Our friend Paul Feinbaum went after
guys.
him hot and heavy this morning, so you're good. All right. Talk to you soon, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a good week, guys. Happy New Year.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Man.
Poor old
We've
Mike.
all been there. You're kind of getting over it. I had it
Yeah.
right before Christmas.
It's no good.
Yeah, not good at all. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your source for insurance, financial, and HR services.
We'll get you updated on the college football transfer portal. What's going on at Alabama and Auburn, notably. We continue 3-man front live from Social Taco in Homewood on Jocks. 10:21, welcome back in. We are live at Social Taco here in Homewood. Overcast day outside, but it is nice and warm inside. You can smell the deliciousness coming from downstairs. We're up here in the Taco Terrace. You can join us as well as we broadcast until 2 o'clock. And, of course, today, Pat, we are updating our great listeners, Alabama fans, Auburn fans, SEC fans. The transfer portal, it's still going on. It is still open for business, and Auburn getting started early with a big-time commitment.
Yeah, Byron Brown, he commits to Auburn. No big surprise there. Led the country with 347 yards of total offense per game. He threw for over 3,000 yards, added 1,000 yards on the ground. He completed more than 66% of his passes, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. On the ground, he had 175 carries for over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. He had at least one rushing touchdown in the final 8 games of the regular season. So one thing's for sure, Alex Golesh knows exactly what he's getting and what he wants to run. So Byron Brown commits to Auburn.
Yep, and for Alabama, you got a couple of guys that have gone into the portal, Pat, but also some guys that might be wavering, and I think the Alabama staff would like to retain if they could.
Yeah, the wide receiver, Rico Scott, he went into the portal. The word is now he's coming out of the portal. He's going to stay at Alabama. I was also told last night that Keeley, and we're going to talk to Charlie Potter a little bit later in the show, and Charlie will give us an update. But I was told that Keeley is someone that Alabama would potentially like to try to get out of the portal and to stay in Tuscaloosa. So there's a lot of things going on. We've seen it at Alabama and Auburn. Some kids go into the portal. Don't know if that's used as a negotiating tactic for these players. But one thing's for sure, if the teams want to keep them, they're going to find a way to pay them and make sure that they're still on the roster.
You know, we thought it was crazy during recruiting, and we're guys taking visits, and some guys just go visits just to have the experience. And now with the transfer portal, some of these guys get to experience that every single year. I think genuinely some of them just enjoy that. And I can't say that I wouldn't if I was 18 to 23, 24.
Well, one thing's for sure, Molly, you don't have to change if you have a Trane air conditioner or a heater because they are first class.
That's exactly right, Pat. And you guys said it's portal season, but it's also flu season, so make sure you make your home healthier with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus, is 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. So go and find a dealer near you at Trane.com.
Alabama has hosted Mississippi State offensive lineman Jimothy Lewis and Michigan offensive lineman Caden Strayhorn. Now, Strayhorn, Nick Kelly told us yesterday from AL.com, Strayhorn's father played center for Nick Saban at Michigan State. He was an all-Big Ten offensive lineman back when he played for Saban. So his son in town last night. So was Jimothy Lewis. Matter of fact, Jimothy Lewis is already walking around the football facility wearing an Alabama long-sleeve T-shirt. So I would be shocked if he is not a member of the Alabama Crimson Tide very soon. Tide still hoping for Virginia Tech linebacker Caleb Woodson. He has also been on a visit. Bama is very heavy on the defensive lineman Devin Tompkins from USC. They're hoping to try to get him to commit before he goes elsewhere. I know you saw some of the film on him yesterday, Langell.
Yeah.
You were impressed with what you saw, but now that all these folks like James Smith heading to the portal for Alabama, the defensive line, an emphasis of concern for Kane Womack and obviously Kalen DeBoer, and getting Tompkins out of the portal from USC would be a big get.
Yeah, guys like him, and you can never have enough defensive line depth. We've seen that. Even if you've got the front line that you feel good about, and the SEC, the brutality of that schedule, the in, the out, the physical nature that it is, you can't have enough. And some defensive coordinators, they like that fresh rotation. So if you can get more talented guys like that, but that is usually, as we've come to know it in the transfer portal market, that's one of those premium positions where you're going to have to fork out some extra money maybe for that guy that's sitting second on your depth chart. It's just it's staggering the money, and it shouldn't be anymore, but it continues to escalate year by year, and that's why, unfortunately, we think that it's inevitable that this thing one day we wake up and it has come to a crashing halt.
You know, it's interesting because we're all trying to get used to this new system, especially this transfer portal window. It's open for 15 days. It'll be open until January the 16th. There's been a flurry of activity since Friday. But just think about where we are in the world. So you've got a team in Ole Miss that potentially is good enough to play for a national championship, but you've got 6 coaches that are signed with LSU to literally the moment the season ends, they're going to go be the coaches for LSU and Lane Kiffin. You've got 2 major coaches that are very involved in the day-by-day operations for Ole Miss, especially on game day with Charlie Weiss Jr. calling the plays. He's been splitting his time between Baton Rouge and Oxford. And think about this, the backup quarterback for Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, he has already signed his paperwork to go play for Mizzou. He is going to be Mizzou's starting quarterback.
That's a really good get by Mizzou, by the way.
And so now he's the backup quarterback potentially for the team that's going to play for the national championship.
No, it's wild. Can you imagine the SEC story when folks are watching it and we're all gone 40 years from now? And they're seeing this whole thing with Lane Kiffin and the coaching staff and the college football playoff and the shuffling and the back and forth. Will people believe that actually happened?
It's crazy. And just to think that, you know, and Lane Kiffin has tried to do everything in his power to grab as many kids off that Ole Miss roster. I mean, the things that I've been sent from coaches and things happening right now with what LSU is trying to do in regards to that roster, and Ole Miss has swatted LSU away like a fly swatter. It has been something of absolute just pure joy in my heart to watch Lane Kiffin get so irritated to the fact that they thought they had Lacey. Matt Moscona did a video podcast the other day, and he swore that Lacey, as soon as Ole Miss was out of it, he was LSU. He's going to be LSU's starting running back. Well, guess what happened? Ole Miss re-signs Lacey last night. He's coming back to Ole Miss. You got Trinidad Chambliss. He's already signed paperwork. He's coming back to Oxford as long as he gets that extra year of eligibility. Lane Kiffin tried to get the kicker for Ole Miss. He tried to get the punter. Tried to get the long snapper. He tried to get everybody off that Ole Miss roster. And guess what's happened so far? Every single person has said no thanks. Ole Miss has put something in front of them, and they have re-signed with the Rebels.
You know, and we've always known Lane is going to be Lane, but I feel like that Lane had done a really good job of rebuilding his reputation at Ole Miss and what he had done. And I just feel like personally, just from my vantage point, he threw a lot of that equity away with what transpired in the closing weeks of the regular season and what's continued to go on with the soap opera that is Ole Miss and LSU. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could have handled this completely different.
Yeah, we have never criticized him for pursuing something for his personal life, professionally. He has the right to do that, every right, but he could have handled it differently.
Well, I mean, it's just a situation where you're sitting there looking and you're trying to get kids to commit to you, but meanwhile, you won't even commit to the job that you had, which was to that roster and to that football team. And then he wants to try to blame the Ole Miss administration for it. I mean, that was all on Lane Kiffin. That's why I'm going to love it if Ole Miss wins the national championship. And then I will give money to it. I will give money to a statue of Pete Golding outside of Vaught Hemingway Stadium, and that Lane Kiffin never gets any ounce of credit for this Ole Miss football team if they win the national championship.
I don't know where the monetary donations start, but I will pledge $20 to that statue right here on this show.
Yeah.
For Pete Golding.
I'll double it. I'll go 40.
Larry's
going to double mine. He'll
Larry
go 80.
says 10. So we're up to $70 for the
we
Pete
got $70
Golding
from
statue.
the three-man front crew for a Pete Golding statue. We will continue on. We are live here at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We've already got a good crowd assembled. You need to come up here and get your spot because it will be first come seating, as it always is on the Taco Terrace. It is a Portal Tuesday here on Three-Man Front.
10:33, welcome in. It is three-man front live from Social Taco in Homewood. Constance just arrived. You can arrive as well. Social Taco, it's Taco Tuesday. Mix and match the $4 tacos. Don't forget about the Mexican pizzas, the wonderful burritos. You want to go with a bowl or a salad or maybe a sandwich, you can do that as well. Half off happy hour, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, every single day. Or every single Monday through Friday, I guess, here at Social Taco. Don't forget about brunch on the weekends, the Bottomless Tapas Brunch, Saturday 10 to 2:30, Sunday 10 to 2:30 as well. SocialTaco.bar for more information.
So how about that game last night in Nashville? What a game. The FCS National Championship game between Montana State and Illinois State. You know, they typically play the game in Dallas, Texas, or actually Frisco, Texas, but the stadium is being redone, so the next couple years they're going to play the game on the campus of Vanderbilt University. And last night, Illinois State overcame a 14-point second-half deficit. They had the chance to win it with 57 seconds left to go in the game. They get a field goal blocked, so it goes into overtime. The Redbirds of Illinois State, they get the ball first. They score a touchdown, but then they have the extra point blocked. And then Montana State, they get the ball. They're facing a 4th and 10. They throw a 14-yard touchdown pass on 4th down to tie the game. Their extra point is good. Montana State beats Illinois State 35-34. Montana State is the only FBS, FCS, or NFL team in the last 15 years to block both a field goal and an extra point in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and overtime in the same game.
Wow.
They did it in the title game to help them win it all. That's just an amazing stat.
We're talking about all three phases, Pat.
You better believe it. Montana State, the program's first national championship since 1984. Think about this. They started the season 0-2. They won 14 games in a row. One of those losses was to Oregon at the very beginning
Is Montana State, is that the Bobcats or the Grizzlies?
Bobcats.
Bobcats. Okay.
14 games in a row. Meanwhile, Illinois State, they finished the year 12-5. They already made history as the first FCS team to win 4 straight road games to advance through the playoffs to the championship game. That's pretty impressive.
That is really impressive. See, tournament football can be fun.
Yeah. So it was a heck of a game. I mean, it was.
What side were you on?
I had the under, which was 58.
Okay.
So I
But
lost.
still a good game.
So, yeah, Molly, you want to come clean on your bad advice last night for me?
Oh, yeah. I was a little juiced up on the Huskers, and Pat asked me if I should take them -3.5, and I said,
At halftime.
absolutely.
At halftime.
And they won by 3.
At halftime.
Why would you ask
And Nebraska won by 3.
Why would you ask her at halftime?
I know of all people to ask for betting advice, especially Nebraska betting advice, I'm
no,
not the
Nebraska,
person.
here's
because
the
you're
thing.
always loving Nebraska.
No, here's
it's your
the thi-
heart.
Well, I understand that. But do I know anybody that has watched as much Nebraska basketball this year as Molly
No.
Robinson?
Probably
true.
not.
So, guess
Longest
what?
winning streak in the country.
If I have a question about the Atlanta Braves, I'm calling Landrum Roberts. I'm asking his opinion. If I want to know something about Morehead State football, I'm calling Larry in Homewood.
Yeah.
I'll
He's
be honest,
giving me-
Pat, I got really nervous there for a second. But you know what? We pulled it out. We won. So go big
Oh, I
Red.
thought
Pat
you were
doesn't
being
want to hear
nervous.
that. Pat doesn't want to hear that.
Oh, so you weren't being nervous about the fact that, you know.
No, because I'm not a degenerate.
Pat is
Wow,
going
she
Pat,
just called me a degenerate.
Pat,
I don't
Pat is
gamble.
going to Pat, you're going to pull against Nebraska for the rest of the season. I know you.
I will be fading them like nobody's business.
When they play Iowa, at least you have some Iowa gear.
Yes, I'll be, wearing my Iowa stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, what do you think, Molly? 3.5. They're up by 7 at halftime.
Go Big Red.
What do you think? Oh,
And I
yeah.
said, absolutely, go big red in all
Big
caps.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the coach's son misses a stupid free throw
Oh.
towards the back end of the game. Guy's like hitting 76% of his free throws for the season, and he can't hit the
Nobody
the
was
front
more
end.
tore up about it than him.
Yeah, I bet. I think the whole team was cooked in the books.
You
I think they threw the game.
Integrity, U.S. integrity needs to get
Absolutely.
involved.
Absolutely. I think Nebraska should be banned from Big Ten play for the rest of the season. I didn't like what I saw down the stretch. I'm just being honest with you. A lot of inaccuracies about that. Throwing the ball out of bounds at the
A lot of
wrong
red flags.
time. Yeah. I didn't like what I saw, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Very concerned.
We got buckyball coming back to the state.
That's right. I was just told a minute ago if I wanted to play that game tonight, I was told that I should take the over because Auburn's
They not play defense sometimes.
Yeah,
A lot of high scoring games.
So let me see what the over under is on this buckyball game.
Ooh, I'm going to guess it is.
I think Conrad's going to the game tonight. I think he's got some seats right behind the A&M.
163 is my guess.
168.
Okay.
Yep. 168.
Ooh, and go over? All right.
Yeah. That's what I was told by Mr. Basketball sitting.
What's
50
what's
away.
the spread? The side
8.5. No, it's down to 7.
Oh, it's down to 7.
It was 8 last night. It's down to 7. So buckyball coming back to the state.
Do you think Auburn's a tournament team right now? Do you think that they have the potential to be?
I think so.
To pick up some wins.
Do you not think so?
I think they have the potential to be. Yes.
Not there yet, though, right?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't. No. No. You got to win your home games in the SEC.
Well, if I could pull Molly off of watching her Nebraska highlights over Ohio State, you want to get the poll question ready, Molly, for today? It's a good one.
Yeah, hold on. Let me exit out all of my highlights. Hold on.
Yeah, tell Hoiberg I'm really appreciative of his outstanding win last night. Once again, great teams cover.
Gavin is asking, Pat, do you like Georgia plus 9.5 in Gainesville tonight?
Oh, is it plus 9.5?
That's what Gavin says. I don't know. I'm not looking at it.
Probably people want to fade whatever. Yeah, it's right there. Florida's a 9-point favorite. Ooh.
Okay, I'm ready when you guys are.
If I were going to play that, I would play Georgia.
Yeah. Florida's good, though, in what's it called? Exact Tech Arena or something like that?
Yep.
The old O-Dome?
Mhm.
But you would play
That's
Georgia.
not an endorsement. I'm just saying
Yeah,
if
you were
I
going to
had
play –
let me put it this way. If I had won last night's game
Yep.
between Nebraska and Ohio State, if Nebraska would have covered instead of missing it by a hook, then, yeah, I probably would have played this game.
Okay.
Don't gamble, kids.
No, don't gamble. Life's
right.
a gamble. Life's gamble enough.
Yeah.
All right, Molly, so what's the poll question you came up with today?
I did not come up with this poll question. That would be one Patrick Smith. Where will Ty Simpson suit up at quarterback in 2026? Will it be Alabama, another college football team, or the NFL? Right now, the NFL is winning with 56%, 28% saying another college football team, and in last place is Alabama with 16%.
How many Alabama fans just hoping they're just wishfully voting that Ty Simpson goes to the NFL?
You know, I find this fascinating because
So you don't have infighting there in the locker room between quarterbacks.
So if Ty were to come back, our audience at 28%, 12 percentage points ahead of him coming back to Alabama, if he does not go to the NFL, they believe he will transfer to somewhere else. I was talking to someone last night that knows the family, and they swear to me that if it's not the NFL, that he will be back at Alabama, that he will not transfer.
What if he transferred to UT Martin to play to his dad and just slays it at the FCS level?
If you remember, it came down to Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, the Vols. Would that not be something if he decided to not go to the NFL, Bama decides to move on with Keelan Russell, and Ty Simpson
and he's
ends
quarterback in Tennessee in Neyland Stadium next year
Stadium.
against his former team? Woo!
A captain, a University of Alabama team captain, voted on by his teammates, who will always have his hands and feet in concrete outside of Denny Chimes, quarterbacking the Tennessee Volunteers. How do you think that would go over?
And then after the NCAA and the federal courts get done, he's throwing to his tight end, Josh Cuevas. Just kidding.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I'm just playing it out where everybody gets the extra year.
that him and Diego Pavia would be teammates somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why not? At this juncture, why doesn't Stetson Bennett ask for another year of eligibility? He played like 8 years at Georgia. Why didn't he come back and play?
Gardner Minshew, does he have still have eligibility?
Why not? More the merrier. Tua Tagovailoa's got a couple years of eligibility left. He's about to be cut from the Dolphins. He's looking for work.
Yes.
He'd have to take a pay cut at Alabama, but.
We do have predictions that are coming in for the transfer portal.
All right, fantastic. Well, we will get to those on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. At 11 o'clock, we'll talk to Charlie Potter from Bama Online. All that straight ahead on Jocks. It is 1-800-239-WJOX. That's the phone number, 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. You know, if you're seeing cracks in your foundation or your doors and windows sticking, these aren't just minor problems. They're signs of serious issues, and they're only going to get worse over time. That's why you need to protect your home by calling Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. The pros, they really know their stuff there at APS. They'll inspect your foundation, clearly explain the problem, and give you an honest, pressure-free solution. They can fix your foundation. They can even tackle that sinking driveway or patio with their poly-level system. For foundation issues, wet basements, or that sinking concrete, do yourself a favor. Call APS today, 205-951-9717, or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
Transfer portal is open across college football. Auburn and Alabama both making moves, as well as other teams in the SEC. Our buddy Pete Nakos with On3, who is as dialed in as anyone with this stuff, he's made his predictions, Pat, for some of the bigger names across college football and where they could land. We will start with Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt. What is your guess on Mr. Sam Leavitt?
I'm going to say LSU because they need it. Lane is desperate. He swung and missed with Sorsby. They couldn't pay him $5 million, so he is desperate. I say LSU.
Yes, Pete Nakos agrees. He says sources have said that Leavitt has built a quick rapport with LSU / Ole Miss offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. His prediction is LSU, but his confidence level is low.
Okay, and let me throw this out there because I have heard this. I've heard that Charlie Weiss Jr. is potentially someone of interest in the NFL. And kind of draw the lines here. The Giants need a head football coach. I'm not saying Charlie Weiss Jr. is the head coach of the Giants, but Charlie Weiss Jr. could follow whoever is named the head coach of the Giants, and he could be either an offensive coordinator or a quarterback's coach to a Jackson Dart for the New York Giants. And based on his contract with LSU, he does not have to pay a buyout if he goes to the NFL. Now, if he goes and becomes a coordinator at another school in college football, he has to pay 300% above what his contract states. So if he were to stay in college but leave LSU, he would have to pay about $7.5 million to get out of the contract with Lane Kiffin and LSU. But if he goes to the NFL, he's clear. So just keep that in mind in regards to Charlie Weiss Jr. He can find himself in the NFL as opposed to college.
I mean, Charlie wants a job. Most of us need a job, need to be employed. But do you think through this process that Charlie Weiss has maybe realized that he doesn't want to work with Lane as much as he thought he did?
Well, not to mention the fact that just like in college basketball, for that team to get hot in March Madness, that opens up the field for a lot of, non-Power 5 programs to, find their coach at an Auburn or an Alabama. We've seen that in the past for both of those schools. So if you're Charlie Weiss, this is the best resume builder that you could possibly have, and his stock might not be as high as it is now because coaches are hired to be fired.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of fact of you striking when the iron is hot.
Also from Pete Nakos on 3, Auburn quarterback Deuce Knight. What he says, barring a decision to return to Auburn, Ole Miss is in good spot in this recruitment. He calls his shot to Ole Miss, and his confidence level is medium with Deuce Knight. And I think that Deuce Knight, not only does he fit that system, he fits a lot of systems across the SEC in college football.
And if you just tuned in, one of the things we talked about earlier, Austin Simmons, the backup who got hurt, then lost his job to Trinidad Chambliss, he has already signed his paperwork. He is going to be the starting quarterback for the Missouri Tigers, but he's going to stay with Ole Miss through the playoff.
Clemson defensive lineman Stephylan Green. Why are we mentioning him? Well, he's pretty good. He recorded 34 tackles, 2 pass deflections in 24 games in his 3-year Clemson career. Multiple other SEC schools are factors in this recruitment, but sources are telling On3 that LSU sits in the pole position, calling a shot LSU for defensive lineman Stephylan Green from Clemson.
Okay.
Can never have enough of those guys. Also, he has got Arizona State running back Raleek Brown. Of course, Texas, they lost their starter, and he is calling Texas for Arizona State's Raleek Brown.
It's interesting because Alabama was supposed to have Raleek Brown in town, I think, today. But after Hollywood decided to commit last night to Alabama, it was a situation where he quickly changed his plans, and all indications are that he will probably end up as the Longhorns starting running back.
And this has been updated now, but the LSU Ole Miss saga, it continues. LSU's offensive lineman is Carius Kern, 6'5", 320 offensive lineman. He is committed now to Ole Miss.
Okay.
So he is officially committed to Ole Miss. So going from LSU to Ole Miss, and I'm trying to think of any others. Oh, a local product, Tennessee cornerback Ricky Gibson, you're very familiar with.
Very familiar. You played at Hewitt-Trussville.
Hewitt-Trussville had a breakout year in 2024 as a sophomore when he had 32 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. The prediction right now, Texas A&M, Auburn is in the mix according to On3, but the confidence level low that Tennessee cornerback Ricky Gibson transfers to Aggie land.
Great kid, outstanding athlete, played corner in high school. As a true freshman, he played. Matter of fact, when Alabama played in Neyland Stadium 2 years ago, he was a starting cornerback. Now, he was hurt this year. The secondary was awash with injuries for Tennessee, so he did not get to play this year's Alabama-Tennessee game. Just to tell you what kind of individual Ricky is, he took some of his money, matter of fact, $5,000 of his NIL money, and gave to the Hewitt-Trussville football team this last year.
Wow.
Because he said he would not be where he is today at the University of Tennessee if it had not been for Hewitt-Trussville football.
That speaks volumes right there. And last but not least, Boise State's safety Ty Benefield, considered one of the top safeties in the transfer portal. Sources telling On3 that LSU will be his landing spot. And so LSU, you would imagine they were going to be very active in the portal. Didn't help them that much last year, though, Pat.
No, it did not. Matter of fact, you and I were getting physically ill listening to all the Louisiana media in Atlanta at SEC Media Days just going on and on about the 20 kids that they got out of the portal.
$1 million.
Oh, man.
$1 million each.
These mercenaries, oh, my gosh. You know, if you don't vote LSU #1 to win the conference, you're stupid. You don't know football.
Brian Kelly and the personnel department, they finally figured it out, and they've got the money to back it. And look out for LSU in 20.
And if you got a Heisman vote and you're not voting for Garrett Nussmeier today, you're an idiot. You should have your vote taken away from you.
Yep.
Literally, that's what we were hearing in Atlanta. It was disgusting.
And then we got excited after the non-exciting LSU Clemson game to start the season.
That was
we
a
were thinking,
harbinger of things to come.
Those are two defenses that just really get after it. No, it just turns out those offenses are
Coming up next on three-man front, 16 players from the Alabama roster currently in the portal. 2 have come out of the portal, Josh Ford and Hollywood Smothers. We'll talk to Charlie Potter. He's going to join the program next from Bama Online. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on with Alabama and the transfer portal. That's all straight ahead right here on Jocks.